You are watching or listening to Purham and Associates. For more information, go to rpurham.com or follow me on all social media platforms and subscribe at RPURHAM. Thanks. See you over there. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Purham Associates. I'm your host, Randy Purham. Hey, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend, and all that good stuff. Sorry you missed me last week. A lot going on. There's a lot going on this week as well. But the candidate filings in Texas for the elections in March, the March primaries, is done. Thank God. That was like a hair on fire event, but we got through it. Congratulations to all the candidates who successfully filed, and look forward to seeing your races throughout the new year. So, anywho, got a very special guest with us, a returning guest. Y'all seen him before, and I would tell you, folks, what we're about to talk about today is you're gonna love it. We have none other than Salvador Litvak. He's the author of "Let My People Laugh: The Greatest Jewish Jokes of All Time." And he was born in Santiago, Chile, and moved to New York at the age of 5. He is a graduate of Harvard College, NYU Law School, and the School of Theater, Film, and Television at UCLA. Litvak wrote, produced, and directed Saving Lincoln, the true story of Abraham Lincoln leading the nation through the Civil War, as recounted by his close friend and bodyguard, U.S. Marshal Ward Hill Lamont. The film was made by capturing the actors' performances on a green screen stage and creating all sets and locations out of vintage Civil War photographs from the Library of Congress. Litvak named this visual style Cinecollage when his first film was the Passover comedy and cult hit, When Do We Eat? Litvak wrote both films with his wife, Nina Davidovich Litvak. He also blogs as the Accidental Talmudist of the Jewish Journal of Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing some and presenting the others, Salvador Litvak. Good morning, sir. Welcome back. How's everything
Randy,
going?
Always an honor. It's a pleasure to be with you. This time I'm checking in from Florida, a little bit rainy Florida.
Oh, Florida. Awesome. Yeah, I went outside this morning. I'm down here in Texas, and it was freezing. It's 39 degrees. I was like, geesh. But yesterday was like in the 70s. I was like, okay, this is how and why people get sick, me included. I've been battling through a chest cold the last couple of weeks, and boy, I tell you, it's amazing. So, Salvador, tell us what you've been up to the last couple months since you've been on.
You know, for me, it's been all about Guns N' Moses, our new movie, starring the great Christopher Lloyd, Neil McDonough, Mark Feuerstein, and Dermot Mulroney. The movie came out in theaters this summer, and it's now available, thank God, on all major platforms, Apple, Amazon, YouTube TV, Google. And, we didn't have the $20, $30, $50 million marketing budget that a Hollywood movie has, probably because we don't have the values that a Hollywood movie normally has. And that means that we got to do the hard work of getting the word out. And thank God people love the movie. I mean, it's such a crowd pleaser. It has a 93 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 73 critic score, which is perfect. You know, when my wife and I look for a movie on Rotten Tomatoes, we always want the audience score to be higher than the critic score. Then you know the movie has a chance to be good.
Yeah.
And that's where we landed. And people love it. So the word of mouth is happening. It's becoming a word of mouth hit. But I got to still do the hard work, you know, of just getting out there, constantly posting about it, appearing on shows, and letting people know, because it shouldn't be that only movies with a $50 million marketing budget get out into America. Hollyweird's values are not what we should be proponing to our young people, to old people, to regular people. There's so much more out there. There's great storytelling, and that's the work that I've been doing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. You know, before I get into it, ladies and gentlemen, here's the trailer to the movie, so you kind of get an understanding of what we're about to talk about next.
This attack, it's personal to me. This crime against a Jewish community will not go unpunished.
Down. His name is Clay Gibbons.
That is a sick joke.
And he drives a Matt Green GTI with Nazi insignia.
Get your hands off my son!
Your son's a member of a white nationalist hate group.
Dad! It was a rap room!
I lost everyone, but I survived.
The question is, are you going to be a sheep or a shepherd?
Told him what I found. Then he was killed.
What did you find?
Why you want to play detective?
Because no one else is.
Isn't the killer in custody?
The suspect is in custody.
You don't control me, Alan. You controlled you. You blew it.
Are you gonna find who did it and get me out of here?
Yes, I am.
When your enemy tells you that he wants you dead, believe him.
There are no words, but there will be deeds.
I would say, Salvador, bravo on the movie. I watched it and I was like, why? There was so many twists and plots. Oh, excuse me. There was so many twists and plots there that I was like, oh man, I was not expecting that. Because I was like kind of trying to like, you know, lay out, okay, what's going to happen next? Because that's what I do when I watch movies. I kind of like try to predict what's going to happen. You got me like every scene. I was like getting mad that I couldn't figure out the movie. But bravo and a big kudos to Christopher Lloyd. I talk to us about netting him to play in this movie.
I mean, first of all, everybody loves Chris, right? He's just, you know, Doc Brown and Back to the Future movies.
That's what my wife
loved
said.
him since Taxi.
Back to the Future. I was like, very good. Yep.
And you haven't seen him play a role like this. You know, he plays a Holocaust survivor, and very clear, not victim, survivor, who tells his story and you know, really changes the arc of the story by sharing his story. What the movie's all about is that there's a murder targeting the Jewish community, a string of murders that go unsolved. And the police quickly look at this young white nationalist who has harassed the congregation before and figure he's the killer, but it doesn't smell right to the rabbi. And since nobody else will investigate the crime, he does. And so it's this odd situation where a rabbi is actually working to exonerate this young kid, you know, who's been radicalized online to hate Jews without ever having met a Jew. It's something that happens all too often these days. But it's really a murder mystery. and it becomes more of an action thriller along the way, because the rabbi confronts some serious bad guys. And something that we're very proud of is, in many movies, a regular guy has to learn how to use a firearm, learns how to shoot. And what does Hollywood do? It's always a silly montage, about 15 seconds, a bunch of tin cans on a fence, and the guy goes from never using a gun to a dead shot overnight, which is not the real world at all. I know you served, Randy. You know how difficult it is to use a firearm effectively, especially under pressure, right? Yeah. And so the firearms training in the movie is from the real world. And the Second Amendment, the firearms community, I think, really appreciates, seeing actual learning how to use a firearm on the screen. And then we took our actor, Mark Feuerstein, through it. And there's actually a moment on screen, when he learns about the wall and trigger pressure, and you see his eyes just like, oh, that's how it works, and it was a great little moment on film.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, and I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I really did. And like I said, it was a lot of twists and turns in there, and the mayor, I was not. He played his part to the T. I mean, like in the movie, I love the Jewish community. Oh, how could. I'm not gonna give away the movie, ladies and gentlemen, but you just have to go watch it. But you will see what happens, and I was highly upset at the end. I was like, "What?" So, but it was great. I thought great job on it. Bravo! And ladies and gentlemen, you have to go see it. Now, Salvador, you are speaking of gun training and firearms training. You are a member of the Magen USA, which trains Jews to become licensed armed guards in order to protect their synagogues. Talk to us about that, because I know I have a lot of Jewish friends, and they are. I'm not gonna say they shy away from firearms and stuff like that, but they look at it as a very, very last resort type of thing. But it's now kind of like the tier of that is moving up. They're like, hey, when's the next time we can go to the gun range? Type of thing. So talk to us about that dynamic and how that's shifting, that mindset is shifting in the Jewish community.
So, one thing to understand about the Jewish community, I think like any community, right? If I say to you something about the Black community, you'll probably say to me, well, there's a lot of different people in the Black community, right? There's that tremendous diversity within the Black community. And likewise, there's tremendous diversity within the Jewish community. We're an ancient people. There's so many different types of us, so many nuances of differences between us. I'm a very religious Jew, an Orthodox Jew. And, I'm wearing it's under here, my kippah. When I walk around, I'm a visible Jew, especially when I go to synagogue on Saturday. I'm wearing a black suit, a black hat. And for visible Jews, we've been aware for quite some time that there's a mounting threat level. There are bad people in the world, and in the United States. The border was wide open for so many years. I mean, who the heck knows who came in? And there are some seriously bad people here who mean us harm, who say they're going to do us harm. And just as it says in the movie, when your enemy tells you that he wants you dead, believe him. And so I didn't grow up around guns. I'm a political conservative now. I grew up a liberal, I grew up in New York, like so many New York Jews. You're just associated with that liberal. And mostly because we're told at that time, that being a right is rooting for the underdog. And you really have to grow up and do your research when you start to realize that, well, actually, that's the opposite. They're going for something else. We can have that political discussion later. But sadly, in America, most sort of cultural Jews are associated with liberal politics, and that means gun control. And so they've been told that guns are bad and you shouldn't associate with them. Guns cause harm, guns cause death, etc. And then when you grow up and start to do your own research, realize that we've been lied to by the mainstream media in so many different ways. And then as I became religious and started to see, and we had WhatsApp chats where we're constantly threats to the community. and that there's real bad guys out there meaning to do us harm. So I said, well, what can I do? You know, I'm somebody who's always been involved, always trying to do my part. I grew up as an athlete. I like taking on new challenges, learning something new. And so I didn't own a gun until I joined Maganam. Maganam was created by a Chabad rabbi, Rabbi Yossi Elfort, to train volunteers with extensive training. We have to pass qualifications that are more difficult than FBI agents have to pass in terms of firearms handling, accuracy, you know, going through pressure situations. A lot of people, you know, decided I want to defend myself and my family. I'm going to go buy a gun. They buy it, they put it in a drawer. They have no idea how to use it. Exactly. It's a perishable skill. And in fact, if all you've done is gone to a range where you're in a little phone booth, you know, you're holding the gun in front of you and pointing at paper targets down range, you really haven't trained, because that's not the real world. In the real world, you're moving, things are changing, the target's moving, you're moving. You need to be in an open bay with proper firearms instructors and learning not just how to shoot accurately, but how to draw your weapon effectively, how to reload your weapon effectively under pressure, in the dark, etc. All those things are difficult. And so it was really my own experience learning how to become a shomer, a guard, right, a guardian of our community that you then see on screen. When my wife and I were writing the movie, we couldn't help but put our own experiences into it. And so what you see on screen reflects, you know, real world training for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it does. It does. I was very impressed with, I don't remember her name now, of course, but she was the one that was training the rabbi in the techniques and everything. I was like, she's really good. And she took me back to my days in the military, to being on the range and yelling at the guys, reload! I was like, oh man, she's good. She's good. But it was
you know what's funny about that, Randy? Her name is Gabrielle Ruiz, the actress, who mostly has done comedies and musicals before. And I had an instinct that she would be good for this part, but she doesn't have that experience. She didn't serve. And I had to get her to convincingly play a Navy veteran with that experience, who acts as the security guard and then tells the rabbi, you need to get a gun, you need to get trained, and I'm going to train you. And so to prepare her for that, I had an Army Ranger and an actual drill instructor. Just take her through it. I said, Gabrielle, I apologize. Don't be offended. I need to take you through this training, and they're going to yell at you. They're going to take you to task. Are you prepared for that? She said, I'm down for it, Sal. Don't worry. Take me through it. Good, she was game, and she learned. And in the end, you know, it's funny, in the editing, I had to soften her performance a little bit because she became too hardcore.
That's good. That's good. She very convinced. Like I just knew, like, yeah, she served, and it's coming out of her, you know, type of thing. She did a great job. She did a great job with that. But Sal, speaking of the Jewish community protecting themselves, and as even in, pointed out in the movie here, oh, it's playing because I clicked on it. Yeah, let me try to catch it. There we go. Just as pointed out in the movie, that, you know, you have people that are anti-Semitic or hate the Jewish community, hate the black community, never met a black person in life, you know, or never met a Jewish person, but you have these protesters, these anti-Israeli Israel protesters that was disrupting a Black Friday shopping event in New York City here, and I want to get your thoughts on this, because it's crazy to me that people are still doing this after everything that's been highlighted about, you know, the college campus protests last year, the October 7th, and all this. You still have people doing stuff that, and they have no idea what they're talking about or what they're doing. And I want to get your thoughts on this, if it will play. Let me see here. Might have to read. There we go. I don't know why I won't unmute. Don't you love technology?
Oh yeah, it never works when you need it to.
Yeah.
You can count on that. There's few things you can count on this world, but that you can count on.
Let's see here.
But while you're getting that ready,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you've got these people that, just like the Palestinians themselves, they never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Not only disrupting, holiday shopping on Fifth Avenue, but now they've been disrupting airports on busy travel days. They shut down freeways. I mean, they're trying to bring attention to their cause, but they make everybody hate them because they're just not grounded in reality. What you have to understand about Israel and the fight, the bitter struggle for survival that they're having in the Middle East, to really understand just the simplest terms, how ridiculous the pro-Palestinian arguments are, is just look at a map. If people would just look at a map of the Middle East, what they would see is that Israel is a tiny, tiny country. It's so small, and it's surrounded by, depending on how you count, 20 to 50 Muslim nations, Arab nations, with a population 100 times greater. And to say that there's no room for the only Jewish nation in the world, a nation built, where the Bible reflects that the Jewish people have lived for thousands of years. You don't have to be a believing Christian or a believing Jew to accept that the Bible has been around for thousands of years. Everyone knows that the Bible has existed for thousands of years. And it shows that the Jewish people were living in that land thousands of years ago. We started coming back in the 20th century, buying the land, and moving in, and greater numbers moved in. Mark Twain talked about Israel in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And he said that it was a desolate wasteland. There was no one there, except for a few Jews and a few Arabs living in Jerusalem. Mostly it was empty. And then using the modern technology of the 20th century, Jews came and worked the land with their blood, sweat, and tears to make it sprout again, and made farms and made orange groves and desalinated the water and made it, a livable place. Mm-hmm. And as the Jews moved in the 20th century, workers came to join this little economic miracle that was happening there. And that's who the Palestinians are. These people haven't been living there for centuries. They're migrant economic opportunity workers who moved in. There are some who were always there. Most of them are still there because they're Israeli Arabs who live in the only democracy in the Middle East. So these people they don't study history. They've just been told that that Jews can be understood through the same lens as white people oppressing brown people. And never mind that Jews are not white people. Jews are all different colors. They've lived everywhere. Palestinians are not brown people, the same as the other people in the surrounding area. There's just so much more to the conflict. And really what's happening now is that anti-Semitism, which is the oldest hate there is just taken on a new form. And they're calling it anti-Zionism. But it's the same old hate.
Same thing.
And we will survive it like we've always survived it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny you said different colors and types of Jews. Once again, I got some black friends that are Hebrew, black Jews and stuff. And so when they're in conversation, you gotta watch them talk. It's like hilarious because they'll be like a discussion with somebody that actually hates white Jewish people, and they say, well, what about black Jewish people? There's no such thing. What? And then you just see the person just go schizo. Right. And it's just like they're like, I didn't know there was black Jewish people. It's hilarious. But I got the video up now. I got it. I think it's ready to play. So let's catch that now. Come on.
Do not trumpet Sarah! Sarah is a genocidal company!
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bombs are dropping! Bombs are dropping! Bombs are dropping!
You piece of shit. All of you are.
Look at the jumping! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! USA! No ICE! No KKK, no fascists! USA! No ICE! No KKK, no fascists! USA! Palestine to the sea! Palestine to the sea! From the river to the sea! Bombs are dropping! 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 Bombs are You can't hide! We taught you with genocide! Microsoft, you can't hide! We taught you with genocide!
Okay, we get the idea. Now you're muted.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. Thanks. I said I want to jump in. I want to jump in right there, and because I'm in a conundrum here. They keep saying that Israel is committing genocide, but they miss the idea of the expansionist idea of the Islamic culture doing mass killings in, say, Africa, in Nigeria, specifically, and everything else, and they kind of like turn a blind eye to that. And then I asked some folks a few weeks ago. I said, hey, you said they were an LGBTQ group here in Austin. I mean, Austin, Texas, by the way. So the
Oh boy,
yeah, capital of crazy. It's
you're deep in the territory.
Yes, but deep behind enemy lines. And so I said, you do realize that Muslims don't like gay people, right? You like first opportunity they would kill you. They're just like,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, okay. I've only been in Iraq 3 times and seen them, behead people.
Yeah.
But okay. But anyways, speak to this idea of what these guys are chanting out here, and I want to get your thoughts on that, sir.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for showing that. I think I saw in that clip Zara, Louis Vuitton, Apple, and Microsoft. So those are brands we need to support.
Yep.
Anything they're protesting against, that's brands we need to support. But let's put it this way: this is why the logic of these people is completely non-existent. So if you would say to them, "Okay, I'm going to make you king of the world. What do you want?" And so they would say, "Well, I want Gaza to be free. I want I want the Jews out of Gaza." And that the Gazans should be free to build their own country without interference from Israel. And I would say to them, well, they got that in 2005. Israel unilaterally withdraw and said, let's do the experiment. We're going to give you your country. Right?
Yeah.
We're not going to wait for you to agree to peace deals because you never agree to anything. We're just going to literally give you your country, exactly what all these protesters have always been demanding. And it was given to them in 2005. They had an opportunity to create their own country. Not only that, but when Israel pulled out, thriving economic place filled with these greenhouses that were producing very valuable exotic vegetables, flowers. I mean, it was a paradise, and it's on the Mediterranean. This is literally waterfront property worth, an astronomical amount of money. When people talk about Mediterranean vacations in Italy or Greece or France, this is the same kind of coast. They could have built a Dubai on the Mediterranean. They had a chance to build a paradise. So what did they do? First, they tore down all of the Israeli infrastructure. They don't want to get anything from the Zionists. Mm-hmm. Then they started oppressing their own people, building tunnels from which to launch terror attacks. They never stopped launching rockets into Israel. And their claim is that in order for them to be at peace in their own country where there were no Jews, they need to destroy their neighboring sovereign nation of Israel. Right, so it would be like us saying, "Yeah, we can't enjoy America unless we destroy Canada. It's not fair that Canada exists. There can't be people across the border that are not, don't share our beliefs and don't share our country. There were Americans who lived in Canadian areas, so we need all of Canada down now, and we're going to launch nonstop attacks, and we're going to launch our attacks from hospitals and schools." And let me tell you something. If New Jersey was shooting rockets into New York, right? If Oklahoma was shooting rockets into Texas, and they were shooting their rockets from anywhere, hospitals, schools, I don't care, but they're killing Texans. Yeah. Yet Texas is not going to stand for that. No. Texas is going to go and take out the launch sites by any means necessary. We're going to take out. And the reason that they launched their rockets. Yeah. The reason that they launched their rockets from schools and hospitals is because when Israel defends itself and defends against these attacks, these people who hide behind their children will make the news, right? Mm-hmm. They sacrifice their children for a news story. That's the Palestinians in a nutshell, the whole history of Palestine. It is a death cult and a child sacrificing cult. And it's fascinating that if you read the Bible, right, why did God say he was giving Israel to the Jews? Right, there was something about the Jews that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, were this holy people who deserved to have a land. But why was it taken from the inhabitants who were there before? And so what the Bible says is because they were sacrificing their children to Moloch. They were, just kind of a depraved death and sex cult, and they thought that they would, raise crops by sacrificing their children. And so now you've got that same death cult sacrificing its children for attention in the modern world, propitiating the mainstream media gods, and giving all this blessing from the mainstream media in return for sacrificing their children in order to accuse Israel of being a genocider. If Israel wanted to commit genocide, Israel has the same weapons that America has. This is just like a coastal strip. Yeah. If they wanted to kill all the people in Gaza, it would take 24 hours. Yeah. They have the weapons. They could do it in 24 hours, and then there would be no Palestinians, and the problem would be over. And the reason Israel doesn't do that is because it's the most moral army that has ever been, maybe alongside the United States. But the United States has never faced a situation where it's being condemned by the worldwide media. And so Israel, when it's taking out its enemy 1 hour before they're going to take out a building, that's like, we are going to destroy that building, evacuate the building. Yeah. If we're committing genocide, we would not do that.
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now, when I was in Iraq in 2003, there was depending on what the target was and the anticipated collateral damage that was going to be ensued from there. We rarely gave warnings that something was going to be destroyed. It was like, no, we need to send a message. Take that building out. And it was like, it's an apartment building.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we know. It was like,
it's war.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And then so the next morning that building is a pile of sand, quite literally. It's like, and you see like little fingers still sticking out the rubble and all that. But anyways, I want to get your thoughts on. I want to get your thoughts on Mayor Madami in New York, elected to mayor of New York, and New York is last statistics that I looked at. It's like 65%. It has like a 65% Jewish population, and they set out and elected a mayor who doesn't like them. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. I still find it kind of like hilarious, but that they did that.
Wait, I don't think 65% of New Yorkers are Jewish. We need to check that.
Yeah,
but
I do too.
It is true.
That. I know it's
that's a little high.
Yeah.
It can't be. But it doesn't matter. There are millions of Jews in New York. And tragically, some percentage of them, way too high a percentage. I don't think it was the majority, but I think it was like 30 or 40% voted for this creep.
That might be the number.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier, that there's a real difference among Jews. And, if you talk about religious Jews, we're overwhelmingly conservative. Politically conservative. When you're talking about religiously liberal Jews, which is the conservative or reform Jews or just cultural Jews who are not affiliated with any kind of synagogue, there the politics tend to be much more liberal. Although I have to say that since October 7th, that's been shifting a little bit. I wouldn't say it's shifted all the way, but there's definitely been a change. As you said, Jews are getting guns, Jews are starting to understand who their friends are, and Jews are starting to question what they read. I'll just say quickly that it all changed for me when I was in Israel, and there was a terrorist attack right near my hotel. I knew people who knew the 4 American rabbis who were murdered that morning by two terrorists with hatchets. There was a Druze, which is an Arab Israeli policeman, who confronted them, stopped the killing, was wounded severely, ended up getting killed himself, succumbed to his wounds, and the second policeman, off-duty policeman, neutralized the terrorists. But they murdered 4 Americans in their morning prayers with hatchets. It's a horrible, horrible thing. This is 2014. And, we're watching this on the Israeli news. My Hebrew's not so good, so my Israeli producer was translating for me. And then I wanted to see the news in English, so about an hour after it happened, we switched over to BBC, and they were running a headline at the bottom of the screen: Israeli security forces killed 2 Palestinians. That's how they framed that event.
Wow.
And then CNN picked up the story in a similar way, within a few hours. And then I started realizing that, if you want to get news in this world, you can't just consume the mainstream media. You have to get your news from multiple sources, conservative and liberal, and kind of triangulate the truth.
Yep, exactly. I was just going to say.
Right? You have to figure it out for yourself. You got to do your research. Yeah. And so I think that Jews are waking up to it, but too many of them are just caught in this loop that, well, if he's a Democrat, he must be good. And this guy is, well, first of all, he's so young, he's so inexperienced. I mean, can you imagine what it must be like to run the biggest city in America, a city with so many conflicting issues and pressures? I mean, it's one of the toughest jobs there is. It's on the level of President of the United States in terms of how difficult it is to run New York. And this is a young guy with no experience who's basically an actor that was cast for the role. right? And he is two things. He's a communist, a socialist, and a Muslim, and I think a spearhead of a jihadist Muslim effort to take over America, the same way that they're taking over the United Kingdom and France. So much of Europe has already fallen,
Dearborn,
right? And they're doing it.
Texas.
I mean, again, when your enemy tells you his plan to take over the world, this is not conspiracy theory, right? It's just standard jihadist Islam that they're going to take over the world country by country. And there's basically the world is divided into two places, the House of Islam and the House of War, right? The House of War is where they're trying to bring countries city by city into the House of Islam. I'm sure that there are many, many moderate, kind, beautiful, wonderful Muslims who I'd love to be friends with, and I know several of them. But if you're talking about the radical part of that culture, and let's say it's only 10%, you're still talking about hundreds of millions of people who are really hell-bent on taking over the world. And so they've installed this guy. And I think that to understand it, you should look at the history in Iran, right? In Iran, in 1979, you had the Islamic Revolution. Now, how were they able to enter power? They actually used the useful idiots, right, the college students, who believed that the Islamic Revolution would be a communist revolution, a socialist revolution, that they would throw the monarch, right, the Shah of Iran, out of power, and that the golden day for the people. And as soon as Ayatollah Khomeini and those people, the mullahs, got in, and then the college students who helped them get in said, okay, well, now we want to share power with you and we want to create this socialist paradise. So Ayatollah Khomeini's people killed the leaders of those student movements and just took over and created one of the most repressive societies there is, terrible for women, and absolutely became a state sponsor of terror around the world. And if we're not going to learn those lessons of history, then we're the fools, right? I mean, so like this is what they're trying to do now in the United States. And Mamdani is, just the spearhead of that. It's not so much what he is, it's what he represents. He was installed by larger, well-funded, more powerful forces that want to recreate that model. The people who voted for him become the candidate in the Democratic primary was a tiny percentage of New Yorkers. I mean, it's very small. But once he became the Democrat candidate, then all these people just fell into lockstep. Well, we're not going to vote for a Republican. We're not going to vote for Cuomo, this independent. We're going to just vote for the Democrat. And now let's see. Now let's see what kind of policies this guy gets in. And please, God, he should fail. Because one thing that I think you and I know so well, does not work. Communism has never worked, and it will not work in New York.
No, exactly. You're absolutely right. And thank you for sharing those thoughts on that, because it's a conundrum. It's one of those like enigmas that you just like, what? Wait, why? How? Who? You're like, okay, you like it, I love it, and God bless you all. So I would not be going to New York anytime soon. I don't like the place no way. I haven't been to New York in 8 years now, somewhere around there. I avoid it like the plague. But we'll jump into talking about your book real quickly. I'm gonna let you go. Let My People Laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you all not only to watch the movie Gods and Moses, but go ahead pick up the book, Let My People Laugh, because you're gonna need it after watching that movie, because you're gonna be
Guns and Moses is not a comedy.
It's not a comedy. So you need something to kind of like take your mind off of what you just watched there and say, okay, I need to laugh about some stuff now because I'm ready to go do some things. But talk to us about the book, sir.
So Let My People Laugh, Greatest Jewish Jokes of All Time is my book. It's a curated collection. There've been lots of joke books. There've been lots of Jewish joke books. They usually have, 300, 400, 500 jokes. I told my publisher when he came to me, Tony Lyons at Skyhorse Publishing, I tell these jokes on my Instagram. Just look up Salvador Litvak or Accidental Talmudist on Instagram. And so many of these jokes went viral, millions and millions of views. And that's why Skyhorse came to me and said, let's do a book. And so I said, how many jokes do you want, Tony? And he says, well, 300 or 400. I said, no. When you have a book with 300 or 400 jokes in it, so many of them are not funny. I'm putting only funny jokes, right? The greatest Jewish jokes of all time. And what's fun about the book, and so useful, is that I number them and then I put lists at the beginning: the best joke for a first date, the best jokes for a wedding toast, the best jokes for a business lunch or for a golf outing. So it becomes a wonderful resource for people, because it's always great to have a conversation starter, an icebreaker, to have a good joke. The jokes are clean. They're pretty much all clean. And they just work well in so many different settings. And like you said, I mean, it's a guaranteed laugh. You get my book, you will laugh. Makes a great gift at this time of year. It is a bestseller on Amazon. Thank God. People laugh. Get it on Amazon.
Yeah, awesome. And I look forward to getting it myself. It's actually my Amazon wish list. I created a wish list on my Amazon cart. So stuff that I'm like, I want to get, but I said I'm going to get it later type of thing. I just throw it in there so I don't forget about it. And my daughter just asked me last week. She said, Dad, what do you want for Christmas? And I said, I don't know. She said, yeah, it's hard to shop for you. She said, I tell you what, send me your Amazon wish list. And I was like, I said, you sure you want that? She was like, I'll pick something off of it and then I'll get it for you. And I said, okay, that's fair. And she calls me back like 10 minutes later. She says, you're such a nerd. I don't even know why I asked for your wish list. She's like, you have nothing but books on there. And what is this 3D chess set you got on there? I was like, oh, that's still on there? I forgot about that. It's on Star Trek, the 3D the chess.
As soon as you said it, I was thinking of Star Trek. That's so cool.
Yes, I got that. That thing was like $3,000.
Oh man! Wow.
Like, why do you have that? She was like, "What is that?" I said, "It's a movable chess set." And she said, "Why can't you just move the pieces?" I said, "You do. You move the boards, and you line the boards up to how you want to move your pieces." And I said, "It's just a way to make you think harder about chess." And she was like, oh, are you sure you're my father? Because I said, well, one night in London. No. But Salvador, tell people where they can follow you and support you, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. So, Instagram is probably where I'm most active. Again, you can just look for my name, and it'll take actually a Talmudist. But the easiest way is just look for my name, Salvador Litvak, on Instagram, on Facebook. On Facebook, I have 1 million followers at Accidental Talmudist. And we haven't talked about that, but Accidental Talmudist is our Jewish wisdom platform. We share what's beautiful in the tradition, make it relevant and accessible to everybody. Mm-hmm. Of that 1 million, probably more than half are not Jewish. But they appreciate somebody who makes this 3,000-year-old tradition absolutely accessible to everybody without dumbing it down. That's what we're all about. We have a free weekly email bulletin where there's some teachings from the weekly Torah portion, some humor, some writers commenting on the Torah portion, my daily Talmud class. I mean, there's just so much to learn. And I guess I'll leave you with this. I just want to offer your audience something. That, when I ask people, I do a lot of public speaking, and I say to people, what's the first commandment? And everybody gets that question wrong, because what was the first commandment? People will say, I am the Lord your God, from the 10 commandments. And I say, that is the first commandment of the 10 commandments, but it was not the first commandment that God gave into the world. The first commandment that God gave into the world was be fruitful and multiply. And that's a very important commandment that people overlook all the time, because they normally assume that it means you should have kids. You should have kids. Right? Now, it's true, you should have kids. But we should think about the next generation. We should bring up a next generation that is independent-minded and can, good survival instincts and will take over the world from us, right? We have to think about the future. But not everybody is blessed to have children. And the thing is that if it only meant have children, it would have sufficed for God to say in the Bible, multiply. Multiply means have children. Be fruitful, which is the genuine first commandment, therefore means something a little bit different. Be fruitful means you were sent into the world on a mission, and you need to bear that fruit. There is a fruit that only you will bear, and if you don't bear it, it won't exist in the world, right? So there's a problem that won't be solved unless you solve it. There's a cause that won't be supported unless you support it. There's a piece of art that won't be created unless you create it. There's a business that won't be created unless you create it. You know, and I think everybody has to keep asking themselves, what is my mission? Why was I sent into this world? What is the work that only I can do? And I better get busy doing it. And that's what it means to be fruitful. And if people want to be further inspired, you know, to do their work, then you should know it's the first commandment that God gave all of us in the Bible. If you want to learn more lessons like that, you know, come visit us at accidentaltalmudist.org. Again, you could just Google my name or Accidental Talmudist and you'll find us.
Awesome. Salvador, thank you so much. So it's always a pleasure to chat with you, and you bring a wealth of not even a wealth, a plethora of wealthy knowledge to the table, and I truly appreciate you. And be safe out there, have fun. Congratulations on the movie and the book. The movie, like I said, bravo, great job on it, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta go watch Guns and Moses. You have to go check it out. Don't take my word for it. Just go see it for yourself. And then for those that say, you know what, Randy, that movie was trash, call me because I'm going to cuss you out. Because I don't know what you watched. So, but folks, we're going to jump up out of here. I want to thank you once again. And be safe out there. And I'll chat with you soon.
All right. Take care, Randy. All the best. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
bye-bye.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, seriously, go check out the movie. You'll enjoy it. Guns and Moses. You saw the trailer, or you heard the trailer. For those that's on the listening side of the house, I was blown away by it. I was like, this is really good. This is a good plot twisting movie. So, but folks, I'm gonna jump up out of here. Like I said, I gotta go take care of some stuff. I'm actually running behind. Hopefully I don't get canceled. But folks, I'll catch you all later on in the week. Be safe out there. God bless you all, and ciao, ciao. I hope you enjoyed today's program. You can follow, like, share, subscribe on Spotify, Substack, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and your news. And also, you can download Let the Truth Be Told app on your favorite streaming platforms such as Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Roku. Take care. God bless.